administration moving forward with new border wall construction. Is that the right move, or is this, as AMLO describes it, a publicity stunt?
There's not too many times I agree with the president of Mexico, but I'm going to have to agree with him now. This is a smokescreen, a publicity stunt. The situation at the border is completely out of control, where even mayors and governors in blue states and cities are crying for relief. And this is just one way to say, let them say, hey, we're doing something about it. We're building 20 miles of wall. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life, because he has to build it. Wait a minute, he had to build it in 2021 when he took over, and he decided to just stop the construction of the border wall. 20 miles isn't going to do anything. This is just political theater.
So how about the move to immediately deport Venezuelan migrants who enter illegally? Many of them are fleeing a regime that you have been very critical of. Are you okay with sending them back?
Well, look, why is it just Venezuelans? We've got, hundreds of different countries coming through, millions of different migrants that are coming through, not just from Venezuela. But I find it ironic that most of the folks that are up in New York City happen to be Venezuelan. Again, I think this is politics. He's trying to placate the New York mayor who's crying for relief. And also, the proof is going to be in the pudding. This administration has said that we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to control the border by doing this and that. I never, ever listen to what they say. I watch what they do. They said, they've rolled out different policies. They said, this is going to stop it. Oh, and by the way, the border is under control. How many times have you heard that one? So now, again, this is more politics. But again, why is it just Venezuelans? Maybe they're ideologically not aligned with your party. Maybe that once if they become citizens, they're actually going to be voting more Republican like they do here in South Florida. I don't know, but it sounds like politics to me.
To that question, Congressman, if it should not only be Venezuelans that are deported immediately if they enter illegally, should it also be Cuban Americans like you and myself?
What I have said all along is that we need to follow the law. The law says that if you have an asylum claim, you need to stay in a third country or you're detained in our country, all right? And so we just need to follow the law for everybody, whether it's Cuban, whether it's Venezuelan, we need to follow the law. And if you have a valid asylum claim, we are a welcoming country with open arms, and we'll welcome you with open arms, like they did me and my parents when I came here in 1960. We had a valid asylum claim. We were fleeing from communism. And so if you have one, then yeah, I think that, there's a difference for you. But a lot of the people coming through now, like when back in 2019-18, 90% of the people that were asking for asylum were being denied by the courts because they didn't have a valid asylum claim. We just need to follow the law.
Congressman, I do want to get to the question of who should be the next House Speaker. And as I do that, I want to mention the former president because he endorsed Jim Jordan. Before we get into that conversation, President Trump weighed in on the border, saying that undocumented immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country and bringing in disease. Is it your thought that someone's blood is different because they have a legitimate asylum claim or not? Was this appropriate for the former president to say?
No, look, I'm an immigrant myself, and so this is a country of immigrants. I think what he's trying to say is that we have this flood. People are violating the law. This administration is violating the law itself. It opened the border. It caused this mass migration to come into the United States. I don't know how many migrants are dying because they're trying to make the trek to the United States. How many migrants are being trafficked? How many minors are being trafficked? For God's sakes, we don't know that there were 85,000 minors. We don't even know where they are. This is completely out of control, and this is the cause of this administration's policies. And no, I'm a migrant. I'm an immigrant myself, and so immigration actually strengthens America, but legal immigration strengthens America.
I appreciate you reading that into the former president's comments, but the fact is he said that they are poisoning the blood of our country, evoking language that's frequently used by people who don't have the same position on immigration that you do, who say very negative things about immigrants and generally speak in the language of white supremacists. But you are reading into that something else?
Look, I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. So, maybe you need to talk to the president and ask him exactly what that means. If it means that it's poisoning the the concept that America is a place of laws? Yeah, because the Biden administration is allowing that to happen.
Fair point. We will ask that of the president if and when we get the opportunity. I'm asking you because you did endorse him to be the next president. We'll get back to who he endorsed.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't know what that means, so you need to find out exactly what he means when he says that.
Sure, I'm just letting you know why I'm asking you, obviously, and partly it's because you're an immigrant yourself. Congressman, President Trump did endorse Jim Jordan to be the next Speaker of the House. I know you were frustrated when you learned that Jim Jordan and fellow Congressman Steve Scalise were planning to hold this debate on Monday night on Fox News, something that has been scrapped altogether. I'm wondering what conversations you've had with them, if you're leaning in either direction.
Right now, I'm uncommitted, and I'll remain uncommitted until I guess I make up my mind, and I'm not close to making up my mind. I want to listen to them in conference. One thing I've stated very clearly is that I want a commitment that we're going to change the rule on the motion to vacate. The motion to vacate rule with one member allowed to do that is insanity. We just tasted insanity. We just tasted chaos, and I don't want to taste it again. And I think the majority of the conference wants to see that rule change. And so I want to see which of these candidates can change that rule, because if not, we're going to continue to see this insanity, this chaos, when one member decides that they're going to unify with all and get the help of all the Democrats to remove a Republican speaker. It happened once; it should never happen again.
And lastly, Congressman, to tie it all together, how significant is the issue of immigration in your selection of who you'll endorse for the next House Speaker?
Look, we all have the same. We all agree on immigration. I mean, we need to control the border. We need to. I don't see any difference between Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise on the ability or what we need to do at the border, which is we need to abide by and enforce the laws of the United States of America. That's what we're asking for. That's what we're asking the Biden administration to do. So I don't think there's going to be any difference on that. I don't think there's going to be any difference on the disaster that is the Biden energy policy. I don't think there's going to be any difference on what the disaster that is the Biden economic policy, what we're doing overseas. I think both of them agree, have basic, we all agree on those basic principles. The disagreement may be, how do you get to 218? And by the way, we don't have all this great division inside the Republican Party. If you recall, it's 210 of us decided and voted to retain Kevin McCarthy. It's a small little fraction, 8. That's 4% of us decided to go a different direction. I don't see that as a great division. Yeah, we have a difference of opinion with these 8, but that's only 4% of our party. And by the way, they lit the fuse, and the Democrats provided most of the gunpowder to remove Kevin McCarthy. And so, yeah, there's not that great division inside. We just need to get these 8 to come along. We also need these 8 to change that motion to vacate, because I think they can see, too, the kind of chaos that they've created.
It is a significant